In your face, all over the place. We're online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station.
From beautiful Saline in southeastern Michigan.
Around the world at sunskyMysteries.com.
This is the 2009 Top 10 Webcam in the World winner. This is SETV.
This message is transmitted at the request of the United States Office of Civil Defense. At 3:40 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, NORAD detected a long-range nuclear missile launch in North Korea. This missile is believed to be headed in the direction of the Los Angeles metropolitan area. It is believed that it will impact this area within the next 1.5 to 2 hours. All residents within a 400-mile radius of this area should seek a fallout shelter immediately.
The only real effect I can have is to create the impression that things aren't as bad as they are. To give our people time, the opportunity to survive.
I guess I just never realized I'd gone so far. We had lost so much control.
Totalitarianism doesn't need armies. It only needs to control a couple of things. The media and the ability to dispense privilege to some and withhold it from others. Of course, a weak and divided people helps.
Liberty is calling, the time has come.
There is only one holistic system of systems. One vast and immane, interwoven, interacting, multivariate, multinational dominion of dollars. Petrodollars, electrodollars, multi-dollars, Reichmarks, Rins, rubles, pounds, and shekels. It is the international system of currency which determines the totality of life on this planet.
Wake up, America, the change it has begun.
Well, good evening, everybody. Bill Zam here. I trust that everybody is having an excellent Friday night. Today is, in fact, June 22nd, 2012. The days go by so fast for me that I have to check the calendar each and every day to make sure I haven't missed yet another day. You know, my job here is to wake people up, to do whatever it takes to do this, to try one person at a time, just one person at a time, to wake people up to what is actually going on in this country and this sad, sick world, because we are being burned to the freaking ground by all of these idiots from Washington to the United Nations to the banks and many other organizations and groups. And I'm sorry if I left out your group of idiots. But these people are the ones that are trying to move the Overton window so far to the left, like a dizzy lunatic in a one-man ass-kicking contest. And that is my little declaration for the evening. Pardon me while I check a couple of things. Last night, if you recall, we had a rather sad time if you were at the website and were trying to watch the show. You probably noticed that we were not on the air. As a matter of fact, the websites were not on the air. And that is because at our service provider, we use a company called Bluehost. They are located in Utah. They do an excellent job. Look, if you want to get the best company to host your websites, you want to go with Bluehost. I was on the phone with the technical support from about 6:45 to after 8 o'clock, working on some issues with the server. What happened was, is just before the show, all the websites that we have went down. Couldn't even connect to them, couldn't load them up. Said they couldn't find the server. Of course, I immediately assumed that the powers that be had infiltrated our network of security and had taken us down. But since we didn't get any replacement pages or anything like that, I knew something was up, so I called Bluehost, and as it turns out, some of the calls to our SQL server were causing some issues in the databases, and they were causing the whole thing to hang up. And we worked for about an hour. We looked at error logs and everything else, and everything is now tip-top and working absolutely perfectly. Which brings me to my reminder that I give you every night. Make sure when you go outside that you wear a ball cap. That way the facial recognition programs that they're using in the drones, they can't recognize you. Gives you a leg up on the surveillance. It does. And you know, every day I listen to the same guy that just about everybody else listens to, a fellow by the name of Rush Limbaugh. I don't know if you've ever heard of him or not. He is the man behind the scenes in the conservative movement, as well as guys like Glenn Beck and Sean Hannity and all the rest of those guys. Well, he came up with a great line yesterday that I am actually going to use on the show tonight, because after all, Rush Limbaugh says he's show prep for the rest of the media. Since I'm part of the rest of the media, well, going to use him for some show prep. He said, regarding our first story, right here, we'll go ahead and go over this story before I tell you what he said. If you were shocked by Obama instituting immigration reform via an executive order, and of course he's been out running around going, well, you know, if the Republicans had saw it my way, I wouldn't have had to do this. You know, they got to see it my way, and that's the way it is. They got to see it my way. That's, you know, if they don't see it my way, then I'm just going to have to go around them. That's just the way it is. Everybody's got to see things my way. Then you might be a little shocked to learn that the political left is beginning to lay the groundwork for the upcoming debt limit debate. Representative Nancy Pelosi is currently advocating that President Obama use the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution and declare that the U.S. debt ceiling is unconstitutional. And Nancy Pelosi said, I'm a big fan of the Constitution. The credit validity of the United States shall not be in question. So here's what you do. You just like go ahead and do your little Emperor Nerobama fiat and just declare the debt limit unconstitutional. And let me see here. We're just going to go ahead and get out the presidential wallet and take the presidential receipts and the what's left of our treasury, and go ahead and take out the old national credit card and run it through the machine, because we have no debt limit. We can just spend. And by the way, your grandkids are going to be indentured servants to the Chinese and anybody else that happens to buy our bonds. Well, anyways, Rush Limbaugh said, you know what we ought to do? We ought to take one of the other planets in the social in the solar system and name it Stupitor and send all these people there. And everybody could look around and go, where the hell did Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid go? We sent them up to Stupitor. I was thinking, no, I'm not going to say what I was just going to say, because that would be inappropriate for a family show. But let's just say there's a planet out beyond Jupiter and Saturn that starts with a U, and I think that'd be the perfect planet to rename Stupitor to send all these people out to. They're idiots, every single one of them. At any rate, we have some great stories. Now, listen, I get, just like you do, I get a lot of emails. I get a lot of emails from many, many different people. And not all of my emails are the usual stupid cat on a fence or cat sleeping in a bowl of water or a dog chasing its tail type of emails. I actually get real informational emails. I get them from several people, including one of our semi-regular guests, actually two of our semi-regular guests, Boris Artemenko and Alexander Bachman. Alex, as you know, is a Christian conservative broadcaster down in Mexico, and Boris is a critical thinker type down in Brazil. And both of them have extremely sharp minds, and I enjoy talking to them a lot. But we also get information from a new friend of ours that I'll just say his name is Dwayne. I'm not going to say his last name because he hasn't given me permission to, but his name is Dwayne. He sends me some great information. And we've decided here at the Saline Entertainment Television headquarters to begin using the information that he sends us because it is so excellent. So let's take a look at one of the things that he sent us just today, as a matter of fact, from one of the sources that he has. This is a website called the Extinction Protocol 2012 and Beyond. Because now that we're into June of 2012, who knows whether or not this Planet X deal is going to show up, or whether the giant meteor is going to come down and blow us all up, or what the heck's going to happen. So now we got to go 2012 and beyond. So myself, I just say let's all just wake up in 2012 and smell the roses, which are rapidly losing their blooms. At any rate, the Extinction Protocol 2012 and Beyond. This is, for those of you that are familiar with such things, this is your basic WordPress site. It's a WordPress blog. This is the basic template that comes with WordPress when you install it. There's nothing wrong with it. You can see on the right-hand side here, they have the recent posts, the archives, the categories that they have, and the Extinction Protocol has about 1 million categories, as you can see here. Everything from signature encoded, 2012 aquatic ecosystems, right on down to fireballs, meteors, and asteroids. That's one of the subjects that we're going to cover here in a little while. And of course, they have their own books, videos, and things like that that you can download, purchase, watch, that sort of thing. So you want to make sure that you go to the Extinction Protocol. It's a pretty good news source. They don't exaggerate things that I've seen, so they're a pretty good source. Now, the story that Dwayne sent me is this one right here. The Italian Prime Minister says Europe has 1 week to save the Eurozone. And this, of course, is from June 22nd, 2012. And, of course, you can see the photograph of a cruise ship sinking. So, there you go. Italy's Prime Minister Mario Monti has warned of the apocalyptic consequences of failure at next week's summit of EU leaders, outlining a potential death spiral whose consequences become more political than economic, which means that people are going to come into the streets with clubs and swords and look for the leaders to have a up-close and personal conversation with them. The Italian leader is to hold talks with Chancellor Angela Merkel of Germany, the French President Francois Hollande, and Spain's Prime Minister Loser Rajoy, in the hope that the single currency's big four countries can pave the way for a breakthrough at next week's meeting. Of course, it goes without, you got to say that Spain is, well, they're going broke. France, they're going broke. Italy, well, they're already broke. Greece, they're handing out food in food lines because nobody has any money, nobody has any jobs, and they are in a death spiral. The end of the article, it says this: yet, if the summit failed to resolve the problems quickly, public opinion, but also that of the governments and parliament, will turn against that greater integration. So basically what we're saying here is, according to Mr. Monte over there in Italy, that he thinks that if they can't get things squared away and figure out a way to get everybody even more free money, that the entire thing, the entire Eurozone, and consequently most of the economies in Europe, Asia, and around the world are going to suffer immensely if they can't get that done. And of course, you know exactly, as I do, what's going to happen. Complete and total failure, of course. Let's go back to the screen and take a look at some of the information that we have. Oh, I'm going to show you that later in the show. Actually, I'll show you that now. As you know, Celine Entertainment television like you've never seen before, has its own website, CelineETV.com, and our ancillary websites, SunSkyMysteries.com, as well as SurvivalThroughInformation.com. SurvivalThroughInformation.com is essentially the hard news aggregation site. Aggregation means that what you do is you pull headlines from a wide variety of news sources and give people a central place to go in order to be able to pick and choose what news articles they want to read. So you don't go to the New York Times and go to the Wall Street Journal, then you go to Washington Post, then you go to the Blaze, then you go here, then you go there. It's like Drudge. That's a Drudge's website is. It's an aggregation website. They aggregate all the different news headlines and everything. So that's what Survival Through Information is. That's more your hard news. SunSkyMysteries.com is more your solar news, Planet X, astronomy, UFOs, that sort of thing. In other words, it's the esoterical, I guess you could say, scientific side of the website complexes. And both of those websites feed their information to CelineETV.com, which is great because CelineETV.com combines the both of them, and you can pick and choose from a wide variety. However, the software that we use is, we'll just call it, in the configuration in order to make it social software, bloatware. We don't like bloatware, do we? We've had enough of Microsoft products. Even though software isn't Microsoft, it's essentially WordPress with a social networking plugin installed, but it makes it slow and cumbersome. It's nice and everything, but from the conversation that I had last night with Bluehost, it's just a ticking time bomb is what it is. So we have decided to install new software. This software is nothing but communication, networking, and social software. If you've ever been to any of the social websites, you will understand completely what this website has. Up here, right there, in the upper corner of the website, where you can see the mouse hovering right now, we have a built-in chat, so that when other people are online, when your friends are online, because you can have friendships on this website, you will be able to talk with them in real time. We also have photos, videos, blog posts, links, and groups, basically discussion groups. And as you can see, you have your activities. Let me see here. I'm sitting here yapping on the air. And there we go. We'll go ahead and click the post, and there you go. You can see it just showed up right underneath there, right there. So this has just about everything. It has a photo album. I have been busy uploading my photography online. We'll just go ahead and wait for that to show up there. There you go. There's some nice photographs that I've taken up at the shack. And, of course, we have all of the usual suspect links. This particular website, this software, works a lot better than the old software. So that's what we're going to be probably using in the future. It seems to be working rather well. We like it. So we're going to be working with it. If you go to any one of the websites, usually what's going to happen is the day's announcements is going to pop up just like this, so that you can go ahead and there'll be links to the new production site. We're experimenting with it still, but you'll be able to go there. At any rate, let's go back to the show notes. There is a company. This company is called, let me see here. Let's go over here to this website. This is from theweek.com. Theweek.com. This is a company called Axiom Corporation. Axiom Corporation. Now, I work, believe it or not, I still have a additional source of income. I know it's hard to believe that this vast media empire that you see here doesn't provide me with enough income to live out my wildest fantasies and dreams of saving the planet single-handedly. But the business that I work in, we rely a lot on databases. Databases of addresses, and people, their names. And there are companies that sell what are called mailing lists. And I'm sure you've gotten junk emails. It's very similar to that. There are companies that collect vast swaths of email addresses, and using what they're supposed to do legally is use opt-ins. In other words, you give them permission to send you emails, and by default, a company comes to them and says, hey, can you send an email out for us? And they send their email out to all the people on their email address. So there you go. You're still going to be getting junk email, even though they promise not to sell your email address. SETD, I have to say, does not do that. We don't allow any third parties to use any of our email address lists. But anyways, physically, you have your home address, and everybody gets junk mail. There are companies whose business it is to collect, verify, research, and aggregate all of the information in cities around the country and people all over the country, and all over the world, I would imagine, and sell that information or rent, usually, those mailing lists to companies that send out mail. It could be your local United Way that sends you out a mailer, and they might know, for instance, that you have kids in high school. So you might get, all of a sudden you're going to get a bunch of junk mail from portrait studios when it comes time for your kid to graduate. It's all public knowledge. It's all out there. You wouldn't believe the amount of information that is out there for companies to gather. Well, there is a company that has taken that to superhuman levels, and that is the Axiom Corporation, the faceless organization that knows everything about you. They are located in Arkansas. An Arkansas company you've probably never heard of, knows more about you than some of your friends, Google, and even the FBI, and it is selling your data. That is what they do for their business. They sell data. That's their business. That's what they do. So you can object to it all you want. It's what they do. They have been doing it for years and years and years. long before the internet was around. When you think of the surveillance state, you usually think of Snoopy, alphabet soup, government agencies like the FBI, IRS, DEA, NSA, or TSA. But there's a company you've probably never heard of that peers deeper into American life and probably knows more about you than any of those groups. Little Rock-based Axiom Corporation. Jeffrey Chester at the Center for Digital Democracy has dubbed Axiom the Big Brother in Arkansas. This article goes on to say, there's a lot of information there. You can go, as I said, to theweek.com. It is in their opinion section. What kind of data do they have? If you are an American adult, says Singer, and who's this Singer guy? Let's see if we can figure out who the heck, I believe Singer is a writer at the New York Times. According to this, it says the Times Singer. If you're an American adult, says Singer, the odds are that it knows things like your age, race, sex, weight, height, marital status, education level, politics, buying habits, household health worries, vacation dreams, and on and on. It does more than collect that information, though. It uses it to pigeonhole people into one of 70 very specific socioeconomic clusters and an attempt to predict how they'll act, what they'll buy, and how companies can persuade them to buy their products. It gathers its data trove from public records, surveys you filled out, your online behavior, and other disparate sources of information, and then sells it to banks, retailers, and other buyers. And here is my one question about this. How do they get your online behavior? Think about that. Where do they get their online behavior analysis from? Let me adjust the volume here. There we go. That's a little bit better. The video side, I was kind of soft on the audio. I just turned it up a little bit so you can get your ears away from the speakers and watch me and the screen. So, these people actually have data about your online life as well as your physical life. Is it legal? Yes, but the Federal Trade Commission is asking Congress to step in to make the data marketing industry more transparent. In other words, saves the government time on doing surveillance on you. They want them more transparent. Show us your records. Show us your records on what you got about that Bill Zam guy over there in Michigan, yapping on the online show there and his little YouTube channel. Well, we're not going to pull the plug on his YouTube channel yet because the Illuminati people are amused by what he has to say. But we're keeping an eye on him, this Bill Zam guy. So you, over there at the Axiom Corporation, we want to make your industry a little bit more transparent so that we can take a look at what kind of records you're keeping. Save us some time and trouble. That way, when we fly the drones over southeast Michigan, we know exactly where to look for Mr. Zam. So, at any rate, unlike consumer reporting agencies that compile and sell your credit score, data miners like Axiom don't have to tell individuals what they are doing about them. Privacy and consumer advocates say it's troubling, since the companies are selling sensitive, potentially embarrassing, and possibly false information about you, and you cannot correct any errors. So here's what I suggest you do. This is what I do since I found out about these guys. First, I go down to the 7-Eleven and buy a Slurpee. Then I go down to Whole Foods and I buy some walnuts and other organic foods. Then I head over to Meyer Thrifty Acres and I buy a 12-pack of beer. And then I head down the street and I buy some non-alcoholic beverages just to keep these guys screwed up. And then I put on my ball cap so that the Drones can't use their facial recognition software on me to find out where I'm going and what I'm doing. I also got some of those James Bond license plate revolver things too. And we use watercolor paint on our SCTV pickup truck, so all I have to do is go through a car wash and change the color of the truck, and they can't keep up with all of my antics. So that's what I do, and we had a bunch more people doing that. That would be great. How sketchy is this? If you're worried about Google or Facebook tracking you online or holes in your iPhone security, this is much worse, says Gizmodo's Condliffe. That's another person that has written yet another article about these people. We sort of knew that commercial data miners existed, but Axiom operates on a terrifying scale, and is very likely the company has an ever-growing dossier of 1,500 data points on you. The Times, quote, alarmist piece, end quote, about Axiom conspiring to serve you extremely accurate ads would be more frightening, says Kashmir Hill at Forbes, if on the same day, on the same page, the paper hadn't run a, quote, alarmist piece about how it's impossible to know a person's age online and thus impossible to keep creepy old pedophiles from lurking on kids' sites, end quote. Well, which is it? Look, they either have highly accurate information or they don't. They're either guessing or they're not. I would imagine that Axiom, if, as this article presents it, they do what this article presents, and I don't know that. I don't know these people. I really, personally, don't care. Because right now, the horses have left the barn, and there's no sense in closing the barn door, because those horses might come back someday. Hopefully not in the guise of a revolution, but at any rate, there's nothing much you can do about it. That's what these companies do. Well, I mean, what can you do? Myself, I am going to continue to purchase the foods that I like to eat. I'm going to do it at the stores that I like to shop at. I am going to do with my money online as I please, and I am going to go to the websites as I please. So, doesn't really matter. However, I do have a few tricks up my sleeve to mask my movements online, and I'm not going to tell you what they are, because that's a trade secret. Catch me if you can, you assholes. At any rate, let's go back over to our show notes. We have already talked about Planet Stupitor and sending Nancy Pelosi and all of the progressive Democrats and Republicans up to Planet Stupitor. That cracks me up. Hold on a second. Let me make sure we're not getting an echo. No, it doesn't look like we're getting an echo. Let me check the audio side. No, there's nobody listening on the audio side. That's fine. I really don't care. We get most of our audience on YouTube anyways. The other night we told you about the bursting bubble and how the debt bubble is going to be the next bubble to burst in our faces, just as we are really, really getting into the depression. It is going to burst and really send us into the depression. And the other night we also talked about Boris Artemenko's thesis on Planet X and where the heck the thing is and why we cannot see it as yet. And basically what it means is that it doesn't come in, that system does not come into our system in the exact same spot every time. However, there is something that I want to talk about related to that. Now, I'm sure that all of you have already heard, if you pay attention to any of the alternative news websites, and I'm not talking about Drudge or Fox or ABC or CNN websites. We're talking about the discussion groups and whatnot that are on the web. Everybody knows who they are, and I'm not going to mention any particular one because I don't want to get banned from the rest of them, because I use my real name online, Bill Zam. Now, there has been chatter recently about how the Earth, or the solar system to be precise, is moving into a mysterious area of space that is causing some issues with the sun, as well as our magnetosphere and all of the other planets and everything. This may or may not be related to the Planet X subject. I don't think it is. However, I came across something in 2009, and I used it on my very first show. The very first show. Our pilot show, if you will. It got my wife very upset, and we never broadcast that particular episode. But now that we've had people like Cliff High and L.A. Marzulli and Boris Artemenko and John DiNardo and all the rest of my conspiratorial friends and guests on the show, I am now quite comfortable in showing this to you. This originally came from I believe, one of those aforementioned discussion groups, and I converted it into a PDF in article format. And here it is. Hold on one second while the computer chugs and churns here for just a second. And here we are. And there is the article. The Coming. A Boeing whistleblower's warning. Will a massive celestial system change our solar system? This concerns a Boeing whistleblower. I have done a considerable amount of editing on this because this is a discussion that happened, I believe, on one of the major quote-unquote conspiracy discussion groups, and I don't even remember which one. In fact, it was never in any of the articles that I could ever find exactly where this took place. But I will go through this with you. It is only 97 pages long, so of course we're not going to go through the whole thing, and hopefully you can see it here on the screen. For those of you that are going to be listening to the audio broadcast in the future, I will read this for you, pardon me, while I take a brief sip of a nice cold beverage and clear my voice. Hold on 1 minute. And I am back. This article, this document, it is a PDF. I am willing to share it with other people. It is called The Coming, a Boeing whistleblower's warning. Will a massive celestial system change our solar system? The average viewer or listener could be forgiven for thinking, aha, this is going to be about our old friend Neribu, or Planet X if you prefer, or the Destroyer, or the Death Star, or whatever the hell name you want to hang on it. But it is not. However, parts of it could be related. And here is the article. Let me see if I can get this so it fills the entire screen. Let's see if 170% will do it. Yes, it does. Okay. It all started with a statement made by a man working for Boeing. And Boeing, please do not shoot me, sue me, or yell at me. I am just relaying this information. It all started with a statement by a man working for Boeing. We do not know if any of this is true or not. But given the fact that we are actually hearing this stuff from NASA and other space science experts, I would have a tendency to say that while this particular article could be overblown, it is actually something that I found in 2009. Keep that in mind, okay? It was around before that, possibly 2007 or 2008. Due to this contract work that he was doing, there were many video conferences and other meetings he was included in. His first statement is this: I work for a NASA contractor and handle the video conferencing sessions between JSC, that would be the Johnson Space Center, and other facilities. Everybody always wants to see a link. Well, everything talked about in these video conferences is top secret, so there's obviously not a link. Good enough, I'll buy that. I love my family and I need my job, so I'm not going to tell you much that would endanger those either. I work for Boeing. We don't know if this is true or not, whether or not he worked for Boeing, whether or not this is third hand, but as we go into this, you will see exactly why I take this relatively seriously. All I can tell you is there is a lot of interesting bleep happening. The moon is not crashing, but it doesn't need to. There is a reason so many are sending birds up, that be satellites, up to watch the sun. And it's not just because we would like to know more about the sun. Now, folks, you remember when we had L.A. Marzulli on. He's the guy that does the Watchers videos. Watchers 1, Watchers 2, Watchers 3, and I would assume Watchers 4 is going to be coming out. He did an entire segment in one of his Watchers videos, I believe Watchers 2, about the position of the moon being wrong. Many people have noticed this. The moon has basically, let me see if I've got something round here. Okay, I got something round right here. Let me get this in front of my face. Okay, pretend this is the moon, okay? This knob at the top is just for reference. Many people are saying the moon has like turned just a little bit and is not presenting the same face to the Earth that it was before. It certainly looks a lot different to me now. According to Marzulli, the moon has actually changed position somewhat. At any rate, this guy says you don't have to worry about the moon. It is not crashing, but it doesn't need to. He claims that the event that is coming is a natural occurrence and it concerns something affecting the sun, not, I repeat, not slamming into the earth. It is already affecting the sun as evidenced by the solar filaments. I will remind you, this is from several years ago. We're all seeing the videos and the photographs of the solar filaments, the little magnetic spheres that everybody's thinking might be spaceships or Death Stars or something. These filaments that are coming off the sun, these tornadoes. This is what this guy is talking about years ago. Okay? This is why I take this document seriously. Because this guy was talking about this years ago, and it's happening now. And you're seeing it in the news, too, about how we're moving through a different region of space, a fluff region, if you will. The sun is already reacting to forces we cannot see. Now, one of the reasons people like this come out and give clues instead of just plain out saying what is going on is because they cannot release information that is not public domain. You get that? the information's not in the public domain. This is how whistleblowers operate. This is how if you see somebody that used to be an FBI agent, a Border Patrol agent, a government official, somebody that worked for the CIA, when you see them doing interviews on shows like this or any other venue, they can't come right out and say, "Oh yeah, we got a sniper with a scope right on that guy 24 hours a day." What they can say is that, well, we know where the guy is and what he does all the time. So they can't actually tell you, come right out and tell you, but they can hint around the subject and give you information that way. And that is what this whistleblower is doing. So he gives out clues, and we figure them out. If we figure things out and cite sources, then he knows it is public domain and can give his input. You got that? If we figure things out and cite sources, then he knows it is public domain and give his input. Doing it this way prevents insiders from inadvertently releasing secrets. So if you see something on the internet, and this goes with all the disinformation and everything else that's going on in the internet, and all of these NASA articles and space articles and political articles and any other damn type of article or information you could possibly imagine, you have to read between the lines. And when you can figure out the clues and put the puzzle together yourself or with a group of people, then more information is forthcoming. This is how this Fast and Furious thing unfolded. There's so much more with the Fast and Furious thing that I'm not going to talk about tonight because we're talking about this particular article. I might hit that possibly tomorrow night if I have time, if not Monday night. Monday night I think might be better because we'll be farther into the news cycle on that, and I can proceed to give you more in-depth information as it becomes available to me. At any rate, so something is coming, and everybody assumes NASA has all the answers, and that there are things they know for sure which are not being disclosed. The problem is, most of what is being discussed is not set in stone. Not set in stone. And NASA, nor the ESA, that would be the European Space Agency, or the others know for certain what will happen. In some instances, even less when. In other words, when. Things moving through space can hit each other. When they do, it's hard to know what will happen because those spin-offs can hit other things we may or may not yet or may think we see but aren't sure of the mass or composition. This clue leads us to suspect an incoming celestial body of some sort. Remember, this is way before everybody started getting on the 2012 Planet X bandwagon. This could very well be the very start of it, what I have found here. But I remembered I did some research on our heliosphere, and when the OP said, that would be the original poster, this guy from Boeing, said we may or may not see it yet, or think we see, but aren't sure of the mass or composition. Well, that told me it wasn't necessarily an asteroid or planet, but possibly the fluff cloud that was held together by magnetics. Now, you're seeing about that. The first discovery of this anomaly was discovered by NASA around October 15, 2009. So that gives us a date for this particular conversation. The anomaly consisted of a ribbon of magnetics that scientists said we had no idea this ribbon existed or what has created it. Our previous ideas about the outer heliosphere are going to have to be revised. Going to this next article. Here is a graphic that you may have seen before. I wish I had a white screen on this particular screen. Let me see if I can set up a whiteboard on this. Please be patient with me while I do that, I am going to take the whiteboard and drag it like that, and then drag it like that. And actually, I need a black screen to do this properly, so I'm going to go like this and minimize everything. So the only thing that you're seeing is the screen on the audio server. And let me see here. We're going to click there. And nope, we're going to let me see here. We're going to click this and then click that. And there we go. We're going to go like that. We're going to hit the position. We're going to lock the position. Okay, let's see if this works. Yes, it does. Okay, let me clear that off, and let me see here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and bring this article back up so I can show you this, and we're going to change the color of the pen to red. Let's change it to red. Let me see here. I'm going to hit the C key. You probably can't see what I'm doing. This is, I'm sure, highly entertaining for everybody. There we go. This right here. Hold on. Let me see here. Okay. Let me do that. There we go. This right here is our solar system. Okay? You with me so far? Okay. Now, right here is Voyager 1. And right here is Voyager 2. And as I am sure you have all read, Voyager 1 is, in fact, heading into interstellar space right now. You've seen that on the news lately. So, this is the heliosphere around the solar system. It's the IBX energetic neutral atom ENA flux painted on the heliosphere, and this arrow right here says into local interstellar medium. So we go down here and it says 2.5 months later, NASA made another discovery that seems to be linked to this magnetic ribbon. They call it local fluff. It is described to have come into being like this. Voyager 1, you probably remember hearing about this some time back. Astronomers call the cloud we're running into now the local interstellar cloud, or local fluff for short. It's about 30 light years wide and contains a wispy mixture of hydrogen and helium atoms at a temperature of 6,000 degrees Celsius. The existential mystery of the fluff has to do with its surroundings. About 10 million years ago, a cluster of supernovas exploded nearby. Actually, it would be a cluster of stars that exploded and created the supernovas, creating a giant bubble of million-degree gas. The fluff is completely surrounded by this high-pressure supernova exhaust and should be crushed or dispersed by it. The reason why the local fluff doesn't disperse out into space is that it is highly magnetized. Remember, the Earth has a magnetosphere. Now, here is the diagram of this interstellar cloud right across here. Here is our sun right here, and this is the motion of the interstellar cloud right like that. The sun moves in this direction. In other words, we are all intersecting the interstellar cloud. That is what this cloud looks like. Hopefully you can see that on the screen. Now, I remember reading these articles a year or two ago, so I went out on a limb and asked the Boeing whistleblower. So not me, it's the person that came up with this article in the first place that archived this. And then I found it. So this ribbon of magnetism we're heading into could be the wave that has been mentioned before. The wave is supposed to be an area of increased energy that the solar system is supposed to fly through. But what if the actual wave isn't increased energy, but this magnetism? And as our heliosphere and various gravity fields in our system interact with this ribbon of magnetism, it causes unknown energy and changes that can be very dynamic. And he says, like I said, NASA isn't sure of everything it believes may be happening. Something is happening, and many who have the ability to send birds up, that would be satellites, are also trying to figure out just what is real. Real being that we have to give a reason which things show up on certain data that gets out on the internet. Remember, we are now seeing people that are saying that some data from NASA, from the Sun observation satellites, appear to have been massaged. This article from 2009, right here, lends credence to what people are saying, which also lends credence to the theory that this is not a conspiracy theory, that they are only allowing certain data to get out. He then says, I am not trying to survive a moon crash, and that is actually funny, or even an asteroid because of many variables. I am learning how to adjust to the lack of electrons in house wiring for some time. And that is where we are going to leave this article for the time being, because, let me see, we've been on the air for almost an hour, and I try to limit these shows to 1 hour to attempt to keep from boring the audience to death. This person, back 2009, when I believe this was written, says that his goal is to survive the lack of electrons in his house wiring. In other words, back then, this guy, in a clue sort of way, was talking about an EMP disturbance that would knock out the electrical grid. Because of this area of magnetism, the solar system is moving through this local fluff. You can do your own research on this. I am sure there are many, many websites that have information about this that you can peruse and read for yourself. If there is interest, and if anybody asks me in the commentary section of YouTube, or by using the Contact Us form at any of the websites after you have watched this and listened to this, I will be more than happy to post this PDF file as a blog post. I may actually do that anyways, but I don't want to fan any flames that don't exist. I am just going to see if there's any interest in it, and if there is, so much the better, we will release it. At any rate, my name is Bill Zam. We are going to end the broadcast for tonight. As always, I want all of you to be careful out there. And remember something that I came up with today. It doesn't matter whether or not you believe in God. I mean, personally for me, I don't really give a rat's butt what you believe in. It's your business. I don't care. I know what I believe in. I know what my friends believe in. However, here is something you might try. How about just assuming for 1 minute? Just assuming. That's all I'm asking you to do, is just pretend that God exists. What would be the harm in putting your trust in God? What would be the harm in that? Give it a try. See what happens. See if he talks to you, as he talks to many people, and gives us his grace, his faith, and our ability to discern things around us. And that is about it for tonight. We will probably see you on Saturday, June 23rd, for another rip-roaring, exciting adventure in whatever the heck this show is supposed to be. My name is Bill Zam. Have a good evening. We'll see you later. Bye.